Hello, everyone. You are now tuned in to the Sexy and Saved podcast, and I am your host and will be your host, Aggie. My name is Agnes. I go by Aggie. That's what my friends and my family call me. So I guess we can get right into it. And I guess I can start by introducing myself and telling you a little bit about me. And then I'll get into why I'm starting this podcast and where this name came from. Okay, so I was born in the DMV area in Montgomery County, Maryland. My parents are from Ghana and from Sierra Leone. My dad is from Ghana. My mother is from Sierra Leone. They met here through a mutual friend many, many years ago, a few decades ago. And they have always lived in this area. So I'm a true DMV girl. Moved to Virginia. I've lived in PG County. I went to school in DC for my undergrad and graduate degrees. So I've had, I think I've had a pretty well-rounded upbringing, and I've been exposed to many different areas and cultures and things like that. I've always known that communications was my thing. It really started with me loving music. I've always loved music. My dad had an amazing CD collection. He had CDs, he had records. He was a member of Columbia Music House, and he would get his CDs and put the stickers on them that said Erskine Music House. So I've always loved music to the point where I loved writing music. I loved writing songs. I really loved singing. And some way, somehow, that ended up translating into all different kinds of areas as far as media is concerned. So I went to Howard University for my undergraduate degree in radio, TV, and film. By the time I guess I reached like teenage age, I realized I'm an ambivert. I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm shy. However, I'm very observant. And I don't necessarily open up very quickly or easily until I really know somebody. And that don't really translate too well to stage. Like, I knew I wasn't trying to be on nobody's stage singing and performing. And, I wouldn't say I had stage fright, because I think I did talent shows and things like that up until I was about maybe 15. About 15 or so. So yeah, music is like my first love. Like, I still like to write. I have an unfinished EP that eventually will be completed. I've recorded songs, I've done music, I've done that, but that's not really what I realize that's not what I want to try to make a living at. Like, that's not going to be my everyday life. So like I said, I went to Howard and I got my degree in radio, TV, and film. Because by that time I thought that I wanted to go into radio. I thought I wanted to be a radio personality. I did my internship at WPGC. I actually did it at CBS Radio, but WPGC was the urban station, and of course, that's kind of my lane. So, even though I was really learning how to mix and do like scripts, and I was learning all the ins and outs of radio at the Spanish station, which is also under CBS Radio Azul. That's where I was really getting it in, or whatever, recording voiceovers for people and stuff like that. So that's where I was really getting my nitty gritty, but I also did a lot of stuff with WPGC. But anyway, so by the time I finished college, I also then again realized, okay, well, radio isn't what it was when I was younger. Like, when I was a kid, I would call into the radio station. Even now, to this day, you'll definitely hear me calling into the radio station, just because I love radio. I love listening to the radio. But it just it didn't have that same real-time authenticity. Like, I would call the local radio stations, and back then you could call them and ask them to play a song, and they would actually play that song. It wasn't just a set list of songs that played every hour on the hour. So by the time I finished at Howard, I realized, okay, so maybe radio isn't exactly what I want to do. So in that time, even when I was at Howard, I have done lots of media coverage. I've written for blogs. I've done online magazines. I've done, what else have I done? I was doing some like video personality work and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think I've come to the realization that I don't necessarily want to work for a company. Like, that's the realization that I ended up coming to. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't think I want to work for a company. I think I want to do this for myself. I think I want to have that creative license and that creative control, that carte blanche to just do whatever I really want to do. Tell the story the way I want to tell the story. But anyway, so I ended up going back to school and getting my master's in producing film, television, and video. Now, as I've gotten older, I have also realized that there's just a wide spectrum of things that I want to do. I just love media. I love entertainment. My Twitter handle used to be Ask Aggie because I typically knew what was going on with all the different celebrities, who was breaking up with who, just all the tea, basically. I just knew all the tea. But over time, I discovered that the whole gossipy, like mean and vindictive and just negative online energy, it's not really my steez. That's not really what I want to do. I realized that I don't enjoy talking about things that I don't like. And I don't enjoy posting news and information that's negative about people, strangers, people that I've never met, people that I don't even know. Like, I would rather spread love, spread wisdom, talk about things that I love personally, So that's, I guess, kind of how I've ended up here. I got my master's in producing film, TV, and video. While I was doing that, while I was getting my master's, I had to do like a capstone project, like my final, I guess some people would consider it a thesis project. And I was dating this guy, and I had used his camera to take some pictures at Howard Homecoming. He came to pick up the camera like the following week, or one of these days he had to use the camera for something, and we were dumping the pictures onto my computer. And he saw this picture that I had taken of Erica Campbell. She had on this nice jumpsuit, fully from her shoulders all the way down, like long sleeves. I think just the shoulders were cut out. And it was a long pantsuit, jumpsuit, whatever you want to call it. And he was like, I don't think of Jesus when I look at that. He was like, that's the gospel show? And I was like, what? What do you mean you don't think of Jesus when you look at that? And I was like, well, that's not her fault. Like, how about you cleanse your mind and stop objectifying her? So we got into this whole thing, this whole argument. I was actually on my way to class. And I just remember being in class just heated still. Like, I was like, so what are you saying? I was like, are you telling me that if I wore something like that, you would be looking at me some kind of way? Just like, okay, she's a Christian woman. So what is she supposed to dress like? Like, what is she supposed to look like? And if you're saying that she looks some type of way, so what do you think about the stuff that I wear? You're telling me I can't be a Christian woman and still, and I mean, it didn't make sense to me. But anyway, that's how Sexy and Saved, the documentary, came to be. Now, the documentary is still in production. It is still in the works at this time. But I'm hoping and praying that I will have it done soon. Now, with this whole coronavirus pandemic, it's, difficult to travel, and nobody's really trying to do in-person interviews and things like that. But that's where Sexy and Saved came from. So, of course, I am of the mindset that you do have to be mindful. You have to be tasteful. Nobody's saying to be out here in a fishnet bodysuit with no undergarments, like, every day, everywhere you go. Like, no. However, I do like to look nice. And, I think that people have, the world, I guess you could say, if you want to be real churchy, has taken sexy and sexuality and those things and kind of perverted them, even though God is the creator of them. And I don't really believe that God meant for us to be, just homely and just, dowdy. I don't know. I can't think of another word, but I know that God created beautiful things. All great things come from above. And, I personally took great offense to him saying the things that he said. And that's how the whole documentary came to be, because I'm like, well, God looks at the heart. Man is looking at the outward appearance. God knows her heart. God knows my heart. Like, I like to feel beautiful and I like to look beautiful. So that's not the most important thing in the world, but it is a thing. And we have to admit, we are humans. That's the first thing we see. When you're attracted to someone, you don't necessarily know them off break. You just see what you see. And if you like what you see, then, things might go from there. But anyway, so that's where Sexy and Saved came from. In this capacity, Sexy and Saved isn't just going to be talking about like, oh, well, I'm a Christian woman and I like to dress nice and I like makeup and this and that. No, I think that the Sexy and Saved concept also falls into the fact that people think that as a Christian, you don't get to do anything, that you don't listen to anything but church music. You don't watch movies, you don't go to the movies. And some denominations might actually believe like that might just be them. That's what they do. However, I do feel that there is a way to not be just so holier than thou that you are what is the word? I guess you can say ignorant, that you're just completely ignorant to anything outside of, you go out into the world, you're going to hear other music, you're going to see different types of movies and things like that. And I think that there is a way to be obviously in the world without being of the world. So me personally, I went through a period in time where I really didn't listen to anything that was not gospel. I wasn't reading anything that was not Christian related. I wasn't watching any movie that had anything to do with anything outside of Jesus. Like, I went through that phase. I had to do that though. I had to be able to come to a point of that strong foundation for myself, so that I wasn't so easily affected by the images, like the things that I was taking in, the things that you take into your eye gates and your ear gates. That's very important, because those are the things that end up stored in your heart and mind. So I just had to build my own steady, strong foundation of just my own spirituality and my own relationship with Jesus Christ. So I guess the sexy aspect of Sexy and Saved would be what some people would consider secular. That's a whole nother conversation for me personally, because I have my own ideas about what secularism really is. However, so on this podcast, we will be talking about all types of things. There's a lot of different hot topics that you might see on Instagram or on the Shade Room, or that actually can always relate to a spiritual standpoint. I think there's a spiritual perspective for everything. So on this podcast, you'll hear different perspectives on love, relationships, music, some of these hot topics that are going down in pop culture. We'll be talking about those different types of things. I really do try to focus on talking about things that I love, things that I like. However, some of these hot topics are just, they're unavoidable. And it's like, I'm a person that doesn't really necessarily like to speak on something, especially online. We've got so many thumb thugs and just trolls and just mean people online that it's like, I might have my own opinion. I might have my own thoughts on something, but sometimes I don't even want to talk about them, because it's like, I see how evil some people come off, and I'm like, I don't ever want to be that judgmental. So sometimes I just keep certain things to myself, but a lot of stuff I be saying, I just don't say anything about. So that's what Sexy and Saved is going to be. I have quite a story of my own. Over time, I have experienced some things, and I would love to just chat with people. And I think that this could be a great space for just open dialogue and just talking about different things um, in a more positive way, in a loving way. Yeah, First Corinthians 16, and what is that scripture? First Corinthians, is it 16 and 14? I'll come back to that. But the fact of the matter is the scripture says, do all things in love or with love. So I'm going to do my best to do this in a loving way, because I don't see the good or the need to tear people down and things like that. But yeah, so that's an introduction to me, your girl Aggie. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. I don't think so. I think that's it for now. But I'm looking forward to sharing some of my experiences with you, and we'll have guests on the show. Definitely. I've actually got a few different interesting topics lined up, and I can't wait to share those things with you all. So if you guys have any ideas or anything that you would like to hear about, please feel free to send it to Aggie at kissmyaggie.com. Yes, that's another thing. Kiss My Aggie is my brand. That is my Instagram name. That's my name on my social media handles. That's the name of my YouTube channel. And yes, I know that might sound like, I'm about to say something else, but no, my nickname is Aggie. Kiss My Aggie was just cute and clever when I came up with it. And I thought about changing it many times, of course, because that might be off-putting for some of the older saints, or just for some of the saints, period. But I'm going to keep it, because I'm like, well, God knows my heart, and he gave that to me. And until I feel so led by the Holy Spirit to change it, it will stay. So yeah, follow me on all socials at Kiss My Aggie. My YouTube channel is Kiss My Aggie TV. And I look forward to sharing more with you all. Until next time. Be blessed and bless others.